Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Kawasaki Z900 RS Cafe, and at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you, the viewer, whether or not this bike right here is a good buy, or if you should be saying goodbye. Before we get going, I want to give a big thank you to all of you who have gotten me to 2,300 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, it's never too late. If you're looking for a reason to subscribe, maybe you should consider the fact that I'm doing a $25 RevZilla Gift Card giveaway. You have a chance to win, but you have to be subscribed to this channel, and you have to leave a comment on one of my last 3 full-length videos that says Valentine's Day RevZilla Gift Card giveaway. That's all it takes. It's completely free to enter and completely free to subscribe.
It's free real estate.
So if you decide you enjoyed the content that you're seeing today, please consider hitting that button. Anyway, let's talk about this motorcycle. I've already reviewed a Z900 once. You can check that out here. That was the Hyper Naked Performance model. This is the more retro styled version, or retro sport, hence the RS in the name. And this is the cafe model, so it gets this cool little bubble screen up front for that kind of aesthetic cafe racer vibe look. At its core, it's the same motorcycle, just has a few cosmetic differences between the standard Z900 and a little bit of performance difference based on what I'm reading online. Bunch of great standard features though. It's got an LED headlight. It also has standard ABS and traction control courtesy of Kawasaki. The front forks are fully adjustable, as well as the shock in the rear. The motorcycle does have a 32-inch seat height. For reference, I'm 6'1", and this is how I fit up on the motorcycle. I can flat foot it pretty comfortably. I've got a slight bend in my knees, and the bars pull me ever so slightly forward, but not so much that I've got a big arch in my back like you see on a lot of super sports. Kawasaki doesn't list official horsepower numbers on their website for whatever reason, so I have to rely on secondary sources, and I'm going to come back to that secondary source in a little bit. Those sources claim that this motor churns out 110 horsepower and 73 foot-pounds of neck-snapping torque. Kawasaki also claims that this motorcycle has a specifically tuned exhaust to mimic the bikes of yesteryear that kind of ignited the passion for this style of motorcycle. So yeah, this bike sounds excellent, looks excellent. Let's hop into the saddle and let's see if it feels excellent. To the test ride. Hello everybody, welcome to the test ride. This video is being brought to you about a week after I filmed my intro that you just watched, because I forgot to hook in my microphone during the last test ride, so I just ended up with a bunch of crappy audio where you couldn't hear me talking. So here we are, back on the bike again, a week later, in 10-degree colder weather. So once again, I am on a naked motorcycle in the middle of winter. Idiot! And yeah, you know, I do it for you guys. I do it for YouTube, for the views, and that, you know, sweet, sweet monetization, of course. We're just gonna give our thoughts on this motorcycle while we ride it. And it's going to be a very torturous 15 minutes for me, but it'll be a nice condensed version for you guys. So the Z900 RS is the, of course, cafe model rally sport. We talked about that already. This one's got a racing header on it. It's titanium. It looks stellar on this motorcycle. Really love the way it makes it sound, and it keeps with that classic looking styling that these are known for. Kawasaki nailed it with the styling of this motorcycle. You know, if you look back at the old Kawasaki's, I think one of them was called a Zephyr. It was a 750. One of the guys at our store owns one. Pretty cool motorcycle, and it looks very reminiscent of this machine, just bright green, but along the same style. This thing just sounds beautiful. That's one thing the Z900 totally has, that beautiful inline 4 sound. This thing's gonna go flying. Yoink! Might as well just rip it off. You know, I watched Chase on Two Wheels review a little while ago, and he was right about the throttle on this bike. It either likes to be open or it likes to be closed. There's a weird stutter as you slowly open it, and if you try to keep it just slightly open, say between 3 and 10% throttle, it's got a weird lull or a jump. It's kind of twitchy. I don't know how to describe it. I think this model has 10 less horsepower than the standard Z900 according to spec sheets, but again, that's from the web bike world, and that source, that source does not make me very happy with the information they provide. They do a great job of giving you specifications, but I guess I shouldn't say they don't make me happy. Their choice of comparable models makes me unhappy. So they compared this bike to a Triumph T100, which is an air-cooled, oil-cooled English twin. not an inline 4, and it's not dual overhead cam. And they also compared the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650, which has 47 horsepower, and it's a 650. Again, another air-cooled, oil-cooled English twin with less than half of the horsepower and a completely different style engine. And then they had the nerve to compare it to an XSR 700, which is close, but the XSR 900 is what this bike competes against because it has a very similar displacement. In fact, the comparable model for the XSR 700 is probably the Z900 RS. This bike is pretty nimble though. The suspension feels pretty decent. It's street oriented, a little soft, so it would be a pretty good around town motorcycle. If you want to go out and hit some twisties, it's more than capable. And the acceleration, well, power's plentiful with this. I wish there were selectable ride modes like on the standard Z900. You know, one ride mode isn't the worst, and it's not the end of the world. I do like the two classic analog gauges. Definitely gives it a more retro feel. And then you got that one in the middle that brings that futuristic aspect into it along with the rest of the bike. You know, Kawasaki is trying to hit a nostalgia bone. What is that? What is that? Oh my gosh. Anyway, Kawasaki's trying to hit that nostalgia bone in a lot of people's bodies, and I think they do a great job of it. They've got the classic styling with the bullet fairing and the teardrop tank. No super hard angular lines. It's all pretty soft, laid out very nicely. But they don't let, you know, heritage design and styling get in the way of modern technology and power. And that's where this 950 engine comes into play. Really an awesome setup. Super good looking bike. And so far, it does ride as good as it looks. We're going to try a 0 to 60 test. I see tests that say about 3.5 seconds to 60. I'm going to do my best to at least get there or around there. And yeah, we'll let traction control do its thing, and hopefully we can make it happen quickly. My hands are so cold. Okay, here we go. And I do have a slight advantage going downhill, so, you know. Anyway, not a professional. 3, 2, 1. 60. And if you want a good commuter, this is a really good commuter. Look at that. 4,500 RPM, 70 miles per hour. I'm gonna ballpark that this bike is maybe getting between 40 and 50 miles per gallon on average. Looks like I don't know, a 3.5 gallon tank underneath of my chin here. So you could probably comfortably get like 150 miles to a tank, probably. This bubble windscreen does a fairly good job of knocking wind off of you, but if you're too tall, like me, at 6'1", you just kind of catch it on the top of your head. Not ideal, but not the end of the world. A very practical motorcycle, I think. You know, being able to hop on the interstate and cruise for quite a ways is a nice feature to have. I do wish this had cruise control. Yet to see that on any of the Z900s. Really wish Kawasaki would bring that over. As much as I do like the blend of the modern and the classic tech with the gauges, that center gauge is kind of hard to read, and in lighting scenarios where the sun is behind you and it's beaming down in this direction, it's going to be really hard to read that gauge. This bike is really fun to ride though, very engaging. It's definitely usable power, I'd say. I think anything over 150 horse, and I mean that's even kind of on the cusp. I'd say like 130 to 140 is the max that you'd really want to use on the street and actually be able to use it. You know, I know that you can get all the power out of a liter bike. Yes, you can get 200 horse down on the freeway, but not all of us like to be, you know, full tuck, 100% throttle, 180 miles per hour on the freeway 24/7. And realistically, a bike like this with 110 horsepower would net you a much more versatile machine. Seating position, now that I'm kind of through my ride, I didn't notice myself being uncomfortable. I hadn't even thought about it. The bars do pull you forward just a little bit, and kind of see I've got a little bit of a bend in my elbow. The seat pitches you forward just enough. It's not overly aggressive, and that's kind of the nature of the bike. This is kind of made to be your around town, good looking classic motorcycle. Kawasaki's done a great job with it. I had a great time on it just now, albeit not the right weather patterns to be getting the most ideal experience, but I still had fun. And now I'm going to give you my closing thoughts on this motorcycle. Like who should be buying it, who shouldn't be buying it, what it's good for, and what you might not want to use it for. Let's get this big old girl out of the way so I can frame my shot. It is just so dadgum cold. You guys remember a few months ago whenever I was like, yeah, some of the content on the channel is going to change. You know, we're going to be doing maybe some ATVs and side-by-sides. And that just didn't happen. You guys remember that? I remember that. Dang, look at that thing in the sunlight. That looks... Oh, and before I give it the final judging, I want you to get some of that lovely, lovely exhaust note coming out of this tailpipe here. Open the visor up. Yeah, that's pretty spicy. Alright, if you are looking to work up the ladder and you're currently on a 650, maybe even a 400 or a 500, something in that kind of intermediate category, this is an awesome bike to move up to. Tons of usable power, a very lively motor, comfortable seating position, adjustable suspension, and you're not going to see a lot of these around, so if you want a unique ride, absolutely. And as far as budget's concerned, I think it's priced pretty fairly for exactly what you get. You can't ask much more out of a bike like this. For all of those reasons, I'm going to say this is a good buy. Now, I took a survey with a bunch of people and I asked them, is this a good beginner bike? And here's what they had to say. No! 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 I also asked a couple other people if this would be a good bike for taking it to the track constantly and going wide open on the freeway and doing crazy high speeds all the time. And here's what they had to say. No! 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 And based off of those expert level opinions and much of my own thoughts, I just don't think this would be a great bike for someone who's looking for something with the most speed you can get out of any platform motorcycle available currently. And while this is a naked motorcycle, it's not the same naked motorcycle like the hyper naked class. It's just a little different. It's not quite as aggressive as those, and I think you'll be a little bit underwhelmed if that's what you're expecting out of this bike. So if any of those scenarios might apply to you, then I would say this is probably goodbye. Well, that was fun. Let's go back to me from a week ago. Hey everybody, welcome to the end of the video. If you enjoyed today's content, please consider subscribing to the channel and maybe checking out some of my other videos for more content like this. Don't forget, you do have a chance to win a $25 RevZilla gift card. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to this channel and leave a comment down below that says Valentine's Day RevZilla gift card giveaway. That's it. I don't really have anything else to add. So thank you for watching. Have a great day and ride safe.